Welcome students, staff, and guests to our annual Remembrance Day ceremony. I am Katie and this is Coy. We are both grade 12 students here at Spruce New School and we will be your Masters of Ceremony for this service. Before we begin, we would like to remind everyone that this is a solemn occasion. Please refrain from talking or whispering throughout the ceremony and ensure that all electronic devices are turned off. Also, please remember that applause is not appropriate during the ceremony.
Would everyone please stand as Piper Michael McFletchy pipes on Eansville Legion Grant number 104 College Party. Please remain standing for the singing of Canada. Sergeant at Arms, march on the colors.
Cavalry, stand, stand. Cavalry, right, third. Cavalry, quick, march.
Sergeant at Arms,
Sir,
deposit the colors.
cavalry, deposit, colors. Cavalry, right, third. Quick, first.
The 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month is Remembrance Day in Canada. Canadians remember those who paid the supreme sacrifice in many ways. We are encouraged not only to remember the veterans of many conflicts, including World War I, World War II, Korea, Afghanistan, and the United Nations peacekeeping operations throughout the world, but also those who continue to serve under Canada's flag, wherever our troops are needed, to help those people in need of our stability and caring.
Why remember? If we do not, the sacrifice of those 100,000 Canadian lives will be meaningless. They died for us, for their homes and families and friends, for a collection of traditions they cherished and our future they believed in. They died for Canada. The meaning of their sacrifice rests with our collective national consciousness. Our future, our freedom, is their monument.
We, as Canadians, have a great history of standing up for what is right and not being afraid of the challenges we may face. We are thankful for what our veterans have done for us, and we are proud of those who, in the name of justice, sacrificed their lives so that we may stand here today and say that we are free, proud Canadians. I would now like to invite Jessie DeCroon and Madison McKay to introduce two of Canada's veterans.
Mary grew up in Holland during World War II. She grew up in a family of 13 in a town called Doorn in the southern part of Holland. This town was about the size of Innisfil. She lived in a 4-bedroom house with an attic. The German soldiers would pick people off the street to help them. A lot of the area farm boys would have to work at the local airport with their horses and wagons. They'd have to dig trenches, haul bricks to build buildings and build homes. When the Allies bombed the airport, the workers and the Germans would have to jump into the trenches for cover. Some of the horses would be so scared that they would run home. Her dad would tell her brothers to stay home so they wouldn't be picked up by the Germans. During the war, they had enough food because they had a farm and they made their own cheese and butter. But they weren't supposed to do this, so they had to hide. They took the cheese over to the neighbor's place for processing because they were not farmers and would not be checked. If the inspector found you making butter or cheese, they would take it away or dump it in the sewers. Farmers always tried to hide their supplies to keep for their own families. Some farmers would raise calves and pigs inside a hollow haystack. They could still buy groceries with coupons that the government gave them, but they were limited in what they could buy. They were not able to buy things like coffee and tea. Their dad would buy yeast by the pound and make 52 loaves of bread every week. The Germans had an ammunition storage facility in a nearby barn. The Dutch underground blew up the barn and killed about 20 German soldiers. They also killed several innocent people, including 4 young men from our town who were friends of her husband. The Germans would launch V-1 rockets. You could hear them roaring overhead, and when the noise quit, you had to take cover as they would fall from the sky and explode where they were. She can remember, one afternoon, they were outside looking up into the sky, and they saw hundreds and hundreds of airplanes. They found out later those Allied planes were flying to Operation Market Garden, a famous battle of World War II. In the final days, the Germans blew up numerous bridges and airports to slow down the Allied advance. She remembers standing in the yard with her hands over her ears. They had to sleep in the cellar in their house for 11 days. Someone from her family would always have to keep watch at night, in case the fighting got too close. Her brother was almost hit by a stray bullet that came through the wall of their house. One morning, they went outside and there were dead soldiers, both German and Allied, laying everywhere. We were liberated. The Canadians liberated the area to the north. After the war, there were 6 men who lost either one or both of their legs from German landmines. 2 brothers were cutting hay on a river dike when their mower hit a tank mine. They were killed instantly. Mary and her husband immigrated to Canada in 1952, 7 years after the war. The Dutch people are very thankful to all who helped in the liberation. They celebrate this day of liberation every year on the 5th of May. We will always remember.
Doug Worrell, C.D. Doug Worrell, C.D. was born in Hansport, Nova Scotia and attended school in Halifax, Nova Scotia. In 1942, during the Second World War, he joined the cadets at the age of 11. This was a compulsory obligation at the time. No one knew how long the war would last, and the military training was deemed to be important for everyone. He served 5 years in the Army Cadets and 1 year in the Air Cadets. Mr. Worrell then joined the Reserve Army for 1 year before joining the Royal Canadian Signals in 1949. In 1951, he volunteered to go to Korea and spent time in Japan. In the fall of 1952, he transferred to the Royal Canadian Air Force, serving across Canada.
Mr. Worrell's service trade was in a communications role. He retired as a foreman of signals in 1979. He then joined the Primary Communications Reserve in Red Deer for a further 2 years. The Canadian Armed Forces needed ready reserves to replace those full-time personnel serving on peacekeeping duties, so he served an additional 6 years. He retired in 1996 at the age of 65. His total service to the Queen and country accounted for 44 years of his life. He enjoyed military life and found it very rewarding to have served our great country of Canada. He is now retired and lives in Innisfil with his wife Joyce. They have raised 3 daughters and 2 sons and have lived in the community for 36 years. As part of his duties as service officer for the Royal Canadian Legion, he assisted disabled service personnel and dependents who require assistance in obtaining disability pensions from Veterans Affairs of Canada. In 2002, for his devotion to this task, he received the Minister of Veterans Affairs Commendation, which is rewarded to those who contribute to the well-being of veterans or to the remembrance of the contribution, sacrifices, and achievement of the veterans. Thank you, Mr. Worrell.
Our guest speaker, Sergeant Julie Terrence Pittman, is a medic currently working at the base clinic for 3 CDSB Edmonton, Garrison, Wainwright. In her trade as medic, she served a tour in Afghanistan and has supported the Air Force in their role in Libya. Domestically, she supported the 1997 Manitoba flood relief, the 1998 Eastern Ontario ice storm, and the 2010 Winter Olympics. She lives with her husband and son in Wainwright. This is Sergeant Terrence Pittman.
Thank you all for having me. There we go. Excuse me, I get nervous speaking publicly. I'll do the best I can. How do we remember Remembrance Day? We've all been taught our history, and that we should wear a poppy and observe 2 minutes of silence. We all know this. But what does it really mean? Only approximately 0.25% of our population is currently serving in the Reg or Reserve Force and could actually experience conflict. For me, this is what I remember. This is what Remembrance Day means to me. I remember the armored ambulance crew that I served with in Afghanistan. We were with Charlie Company 2 PPC Alive from CFB Shiloh. Sean, the tall fella that you see, who was the goofiest man I've ever met, played a mean game of cribbage. He is now an advanced paramedic working for the city of Calgary. And I remember DJ, who is the little fella. He was the driver of the ambulance and spent 7 months talking about politics and nothing but, all about politics. He has now since moved to Ottawa and is working in politics. I remember those friends that didn't come home with me. Corporal Chad Horn, the bottom side here. I remember his young innocence when he was there. I remember how ecstatic he was when he killed the pesky man-bear pig that was bothering our camp. We don't know to this day what it was. It looked like a dog, but it had a pig snout. Whatever it was, he caught it for us. He got rid of it. He was so excited when he was able to save our camp and our kitchen tent. Corporal Mike Segi, I remember him. He's in the middle. I remember the night before he was killed, we played ultimate frisbee. And he made the most amazing catch I have ever seen, barefoot, across gravel, because he ran so fast his flip-flops fell off. And I remember Corporal Andrew Grennan, who's on this side. I remember his quiet faith, and I remember how he always led the prayer circle for his section before every patrol. Some are harder to say goodbye to than others. This is me carrying the beret of Corporal Mike Starker in 2008 and sending him home. He was a reservist from Calgary who worked as an EMT in his civilian life. But I also think of my friends and I think of my family. who have served and continue to serve. I think of my husband here, Andrew, and his 2 tours to Afghanistan. I think of my mom, and I think of Andrew's mom, who would drop everything to fly from Ontario to Alberta in order to take care of our son Owen, whenever Andrew and I were sent away at the same time. I, of course, remember Owen, my young son here, he's 14 now, how strong he's always been whenever mom and dad had to be sent away. Every soldier remembers all those that are at home waiting for them. This is the reason why we do what we do.
At this time, I would like to invite the representatives from grades 4 to 12 to come and light the peace candles.
candle for those who are less fortunate than us. May we continue to do our best to support them in their times of need.
We light this candle so that the nations of the world who believe in freedom, peace, and democracy will continue to fight for our freedom.
We light this candle so that everyone throughout the world may know peace and freedom as we do here in Canada.
We light this candle for Canada, our country, known worldwide as a peacekeeping nation.
We light this candle so that we will be examples of peacemakers within our Spruce View School community and the community of Spruce View.
We light this candle to show that we treat others how we want to be treated, with respect, kindness, and consideration.
We light this candle so that we as students will act as ambassadors of peace in our school environment, whether in the classroom, on the bus, or on the playground.
We light this candle so that we all may be instruments of peace with our own families, sharing, loving, and forgiving.
We light this candle for peace in our hearts.
sent through the country, and we need an army to fight for the right. Young men enlist and are sent to the battle to fight the offender and help our allies. And the young men cry, "Oh Canada, we'll gladly go and fight for thee." And the young men cry, "Oh Canada, we'll fight to keep you free." The battle's raging, gunfire is blazing. A tired young soldier is clinging to life. He's ordered on and obeys by advancing. No hope of returning from the enemy fire. And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, if it must be so, I'll die for thee." And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, I'll die to keep you free." And we all miss, oh Canada, the land where we all used to be. And we all long for Canada, the true north, strong and free. The soldier cries, "Oh Canada, if it must be so, I'll die for thee." And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, I'll die to keep you free." Far away we have seen a great danger, and yet there's a danger much greater within. The noise we make as we constantly bicker would hush not a whisper if we listen to hear. All the thousands cry, "Oh Canada, is that why we have died for thee?" And the soldiers cry, "Oh Canada, we died to keep you free." And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, be true and strong for me." I hear the guns, I feel the fire. With my last breath, my spirit flies. And I see the faces of my friends fighting till the end. So many fears gone. I feel their courage and their pain. Their life should never be in vain.
laid by our kindergarten to grade 3 students on behalf of our school community.
Wreaths will now be laid for our community of Spruce View. Colin Conan, MP Assistant for the riding of Red Deer Mountain View. Sheila Juti, Constituency Assistant for Isabel Sylvan Lake. Richard Lorenz for the County of Red Deer. Connie Huelsman for Chinook Center School Division. The Spruce View Firefighters. Dick Foster for the Glendale Elks. The Spruce View Lions Club. Mr. Johansson for the Agricultural Society. Pastor Russ Howard for the King of Kings Lutheran Church and the local food bank. Pam and Tanya for Central Alberta Co-op. please rise. Sergeant at Arms, retrieve the colors.
And rouse are traditional bugle signals in military life. The last post signals the end of the day and is also used as a symbol of death. In this ceremony, it is played for those who have died while serving our country.
Rouse is the signal that the day is beginning. In this ceremony, we follow the last post as a symbol of memory, as a symbol that the memory of the dead will live on, and therefore life triumphs over death.
We will now play the last post. It will be followed by 2 minutes of silence for us to remember those who have fought for the freedoms that we enjoy. We would ask that you do not talk or fidget during our 2 minutes of silence. After the 2 minutes of silence, it will be broken by the Piper's Lament and then roused.
I will now recite the act of remembrance. When I have finished, everyone will respond, "We will remember them." They shall not grow old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
Please join in singing God Save the Queen and remain standing for the marching off of the color party.
God
seated. We would like to thank the Innisfil Legion Branch 104 Color Party for participating in our service, the grades 1 to 3 students for making their wreaths, the grades 4 to 12 participants in the candle ceremony, and the community of Spruce View for joining us today and participating in our ceremony.
Thank you for remembering with us. The grade 1 to 6 students will go for a short recess. Grade 7 and 8 students, please remain seated, and high school students will return to their regular classes.
Stand up. Okay, Alex.